Hello and welcome. This is View from the Top. I'm Modele Sharafa Yusuf and I thank you for tuning in. Though Nigeria is more commonly known for its oil riches, the country is gaining a reputation as a creative hotspot. A generation of Nigerian artists are leading Africa's contemporary music scene, redefining the continent's creative landscape and crafting songs with international appeal. Nigeria's film industry, Nollywood, is the second largest film industry after India's. Nigeria's fashion sector is also enjoying high levels of exposure, with Nigerian designers becoming regular features on some of the world's runways. But beyond the glitz and glamour, designers within Nigeria struggle to find a sustainable market locally and to keep up with the international fashion industry. The Nigerian fashion industry remains largely fragmented, suffering from a lack of internal and external patronage and a myriad of structural issues. Unlike Nollywood, fashion is rarely viewed as an integrated sector of the economy, and the potential of creativity as an economic force has not really been recognized in Nigeria. Poor infrastructure slows down production and raises costs. Nigeria's textiles market, once the third largest in Africa, is virtually defunct and dependent on cheap imports from China. As a consequence, while rich in talent, Nigeria lacks the infrastructure and capacity to commercialize its creative talent and reap its vast rewards. In comparison, the South African fashion industry, including all its different sectors, manufacturing, retail, media, and recruitment sectors, is the fifth largest employment sector in the country. Fashion entrepreneur and one of the best in the industry, Deola Sagoe, joins me on View from the Top, and I want to thank her very much. Thank you, Deola, for agreeing to this interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
Born in August 1966, Deola Sagoe studied business administration at the University of Miami and got a master's degree in finance from the University of Lagos. She began designing in 1989 and is reputed for her lively and colorful designs. She frequently exhibits her collections at international fashion weeks, including Cape Town and New York. She has won the Africa Designs and the Mnet Anglo Gold African Designs Awards, among others. Despite all the odds, you have stuck with it and remained on top of your game for 26 years. How do you stay motivated?
I believe that I have a calling in this industry. And when I started it 26 years ago this year, it was tough then because nobody wanted really to listen to or to see anything coming out of Africa. It wasn't cool to look African or to wear African clothing. At best, people wore boo-boos, and the West didn't see anything that was creative about boo-boos. And from this era, I stuck to my guns and said, look, we're creative in Africa, and we can do a whole lot when it comes to do with world fashion. And so come rain, come shine, I am going to stick here and prove that something great can come out of Africa. I will prove that we can be creative, and at the end of the day, I will prove also that we can turn it into viable business. So coming into Nigeria and sticking in Nigeria, I still believe very, very, very strongly in the dream that I had from the beginning that fashion will become viable in Africa through making sure that I do the commensurate research and development on our own native fabrics that will make the world sit up, take a look and say, listen, we have to come and get this because we don't have it over there. So I still have the hope. And you can see for yourself that we've come a long way 26 years later. When I started, nobody wanted to hear of their child even interested in fashion. You were a tailor if you said you were a designer. But now, there are many children who want to be designers, who are children of the very influential in society. And so these things just show you and point to the fact that whatever it is that happened or the decisions that I took 26 years ago have had an impact.
I spoke with your dad once. By the way, Deola's father is Chief Michael Adeojo. the chairman of Toyota Nigeria and founder of Elizade University. And he told me that he tried to dissuade you from towing this path. Tell me about that.
Wow. When my father saw, I didn't go to him and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to stick to fashion. I just did it. And when he saw that I wasn't joining him in the family business as I should have, because after all, this is what I went to university to study, to do, to take over from him. And he said, look, what are you still doing with this thing? And I said, oh, I'm a designer. And he said, designer, tailor. And I said, no. What it is that I have my vision. And there's a mission that I know that I have to get to that vision. And I just had that assurance within me that I was doing something that would enlighten not only Africans, but the whole world to what exactly African fashion is. So it didn't daunt me. His resistance to what I chose to do actually made me even more bullish.
But now he's proud.
Thank God. That's why you have to follow your passion. Gone are the days when, in Africa, when you would start a business and insist that all your children must go into that line of business. Children are individuals that are born through you, and they can have different destinies from the destiny that God has given you, and you have to respect that. So, but then to respect it, the parent has to also see that this child is actually doing something. So I believe that it was 10 years after, I believe, when I started, when I went to New York Fashion Week, is when my father on TV in New York said, it's true, she wanted to do it, but I dissuaded her. They said, how do you feel now? Don't you feel proud of what your daughter has done for Africa? I said, yes.
And then your daughters, all three of them, are already into fashion and have their own label now. How did you manage to indoctrinate them?
I did no such thing. I had no designs on them. I only had designs on my fabrics and my clothing. I did not ever think that I was going to be a designer. My mother, it was, who had that hobby on the side and who was so talented with that hobby that it turned into a business, and they named it Odua. So along the way as well, my children would go with me to shows, they come around to work and things, and I didn't know that they were imbibing everything. And I have to let you know that the three of them are all creative. All of them. All of them are artists. The first one does absolutely very well at styling, and she also has a knack for colors that for me is mind-blowing, but she takes after my mother completely and totally. The second one, she's an artist, but she can paint in such a way that you would think that it's actually a picture that she's painted. My three daughters, if it was just one, I myself would have understood it, but honestly, truthfully, I don't understand it myself.
They're still young. Have you prepared them for the comparison between mother and daughter that would inevitably come up?
The thing is that in our family, you do not do things by halves. Even though my father is not a designer or isn't even creative, it's my mother who's very creative. My father is a perfectionist. You can even see it in the way he dresses and in the way he does his things. And he brooked no nonsense when it came to doing things well. And of course, you had to be hardworking. For your information, a lot of people did not know that my father was Michael Adeoju. Deola, it's only in the past 2 years that people started to know, to put the two of us together. Now for my children, they don't have it easy because I nitpick at everything that they create. And so even before they come and show me something, they know, that lady, there's no way that you can bring anything to her that is substandard. So the standard has been set, and they know that if they are to get support from me to stay in this business, then they have to do it absolutely perfectly right. Nobody is perfect, but you try to the very, very best of your abilities. At least you must be better than me. And to be better than me, wow, that's for them, yes. But they can do it. Nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible.